awaiting his arrival, as are his servants. Louis looks at the sky and assures Guiteau that the storm will soon pass, and they should continue on their way. Before long, however, it becomes obvious that the storm is growing yet more violent. Guiteau speaks up again, reiterating his proposal that they go to the Louvre for the night. Again the king protests, pointing out that the queen takes her supper and retires too late for him. Guiteau assures his master that she would conform to the king's wishes in this respect, and Louis, reluctantly, indicates his consent. As the small company retraces its steps and makes its way towards the Louvre, Guiteau rides ahead to alert the queen of the king's imminent arrival and state the time at which he would like to take his supper. The queen issues orders to serve the king his favourite dish, and the royal couple shares a warming meal. They then withdraw for the night, and Louis finds that his pillow has been placed on the queen's bed. 9 months later, the queen, Anne of Austria, gives birth to their son, the Dauphin of France. The child is named Louis, but at his formal baptism he will be given a second name, one that reflects the miraculous nature of his arrival: Dieu donné. For Louis XIV of France truly was a gift from God. As with all legends, this one has some basis in fact, but not much. However, its author, the Abbé Griffet, was correct to portray the coming of the Dauphin as a prodigious event. For the fact was that Louis XIV was born at a time when France had every reason to give up hope that her king would ever produce a much-desired heir, and the circumstances of Louis XIV's conception and birth are every bit as dramatic as the legend. 1. A gift from God. It was a charming scene. In the fairy tale chateau at Burgundy, the bride and groom, both of whom were only 14 years old, came together for the formal solemnization of their marriage. Anne of Austria was as beautiful as the day, tall, with large blue eyes, luxuriant chestnut hair, and long white hands, of which she was especially proud. She wore a velvet gown of royal purple, powdered with golden fleur-de-lis, the symbol of her new country. Louis was quite plump and spoke with a stammer. He was handsome and very well made, and his appearance did not displease the queen. His dark hair and deep brown eyes were perfectly set off by a suit of white satin, embellished with gold embroidery and a large ruff. They exchanged gifts, Louis presenting Anne with a plume from his hat, while she gracefully acquiesced to his request for one of the bows that bound her hair. The wedding festivities would continue into the night, but first the royal couple was ceremonially put to bed, as other members of the royal family and courtiers looked on, and a priest blessed the marriage bed in the hope that God would help the couple produce an heir. Where the bride and groom were children, this symbolic consummation was all that was required, and the groom, having been placed in the bed beside his wife before witnesses, would then be removed and taken away to his own chamber. The young couple would then continue to live in separate households until it was decided that they were old enough to begin their married life together, in the fullest sense. However, Louis and Anne, despite their youth, were deemed old enough to begin living together as husband and wife immediately, and it was here that the problems began. At the time of his wedding to Anne of Austria, Louis XIII of France already had a highly developed aversion towards women. This was largely the result of the schemes and conspiracies of his mother, Marie de Médicis, who proved reluctant to relinquish the power she had exercised as regent, and who had always favoured her younger son, Gaston, Duc d'Orléans, at the expense of the king. Now, as he stood on the threshold of manhood, Louis appeared disinclined to consummate his marriage. At 5:30 in the afternoon, Louis announced that the wedding ceremonies had tired him out, and he retired to his room. No amount of persuasion would induce him to change his mind, and when his